A new fashion collection showcases the country's bountiful agricultural heritage. With the recent blow to the country's agricultural sector, how do we honor our farmers? Joining us now in our studios is no less than Filipino fashion designer Lesley Mobo. Lesley, great to have you with us. And the final word.
Such an honor to be here, Rico. I'm such a big fan.
What does it feel like, Lesley, to be back in the Philippines?
Well, I've always been back to the Philippines for quite a few years, and I feel like I'm living two lives in a way because I live in London, but I also live here. But it's funny because when I'm there, I miss the Philippines. When I'm here, I partly miss there. But, you know.
You're torn.
But I'm I'm really a Filipino. I don't even have a British accent. So I love keeping my Bisaya accent. So my English
is so lovely to hear. I, myself, having worked with the British Broadcasting Company for many, many years,
yes, I know,
we've kept our accents.
Yes, we have to keep it, and I'm proud of it.
And it's genuine.
Yeah, so that's why my English is really broken.
All right, you just came back to Manila about a week ago, and you launched your fashion showcase for the first time in many, many years. And it's called Masaganang
Bukid.
Yes. Why did you come up with this concept?
Well, Masaganang Bukid really just came out really because of the pandemic, really. I think there's a lot of negativity. I mean, we've been through a lot of things that's so depressing. And I had a chance to discuss this with Ben Chan, who owns Bench, and Noel Manapat, who works creatively with Bench. And we said, God, it's so depressing what happened with the pandemic and all the uncertainty and everything. And I was stuck in Aklan for 11 months during the pandemic. And we had to learn from the pandemic. And we have to take whatever we learned from the pandemic and bring it through, you know, moving forward. And I said, let's do something that is really positive. And we have to put everything that we've learned from it.
And of course, Lesley, our farmers and our farmer communities also have to be very resilient. Not only hurt during the pandemic, but also by the 20-plus typhoons that hit the country every year.
We always have like 100 typhoons anyway, and we always say, oh, it's, you know, we get used to it. But the truth is, you know, we're still adjusting. Masaganang Bukid really is a tribute to farmers. And that's because I myself, you know, my mom's family, you know, they're all farmers. I mean, my mom has to climb a mountain to go to school and walk 1 kilometer. So I said, this is perfect. You know, during the pandemic, we realized that living in the village for 11 months, we've been planting things. We have the chance to go fishing and work with some young farmers. And unfortunately, the truth about our society is that if you don't have access on higher education, you know, you can never really progress yourself into society. And that's why I think it's important that we celebrate those young farmers, the contribution that they do, and we have to value them. Because, you know, the hard work that they bring during the pandemic, I saw it myself, you know, the things that they help the community, the barangay, you know, they provided food, rice, and, you know, it's like the sort of bayanihan thing. So that's why on the Bench sort of kind of promo thing, I shot them with real young farmers, young girls in the village and stuff, and I think this is like a tribute to them.
Well, it is a tribute indeed. I mean, it is in jackets, it is in bags, it is in caps, it is in T-shirts. Tell us about this jacket that you have with you on the program.
Well, this is basically...
These are also your illustrations, Lesley.
Yeah, I did the illustration, and basically Bench sort of executed it. And this is really a perfect sort of, I don't know, a sort of kind of...
Describe to us, what are the images?
Well, this is basically a sort of ideal Philippine sort of island, really. A sort of a wife, a housewife, which is a farmer's wife probably, or she could be a farmer herself. And this is Mayon Volcano, obviously. We have the chocolate hills, the Kalabaw, which is a representation of a Filipino sort of farmer, which is a hardworking Pinoy and everything.
Yes.
And you know...
That is basically the machine.
Yes, basically the machine that we have until now. So yeah, so that's basically, I think for me in a nutshell, what is basically the ideal of what is being Pinoy, being Filipino. It's basically, we live in an island, and that for me is what...
And then you also have bags here, and you have caps.
Yeah, that's also in bags, and then we also have the Carabao. We have the angry Carabao because he's basically working very hard. And then we have the ladies in ternos, which are, they're all like, you know, they're all like farmers, housewives, and everything. We have Super Serena here.
Oh, the Super Serena.
Yeah, which is if you live in the, you know, if you live in the seaside and everything. And then we have bananas. So
what's that?
This is a bunch of banana. Nababaliw na sasabik. That's basically from Armida Sigon Reyna's song. So this is in a way a tribute to Armida. Awitan kita. And then we also have this one, which is what we call the Ati-Atihan Terno Lady. So she's black because she's basically celebrating from a clan from Bisaya, Iloilo, Antique. We're basically descendants of Ate, so Aitas.
So when you came up with
black.
these designs, no, Lesley, and you discussed it with Ben Chan, did you also look at the angle of marketability of these products?
Well, you know, it comes at a time that, you know, I said that fashion is changing and everything. The borders is sort of kind of blurring as well. And so as we said, you know, we have to be proud. I mean, Ben Chan and Ben Chan itself is all about promoting love local, and this really fits in really well. So it's important that we tell people that it's also made in the Philippines as well. So we have to take pride of everything that is Pinoy and also made in the Philippines. So
Just looking back, Lesley, do you think that us Filipinos have also forgotten to keep our cultural and agricultural heritage alive? And now we should really put it into fashion for us to relive it and remember it?
Well, fashion, people listens when you talk about fashion. And I think if you use fashion as a platform to send a message, because at the end of the day, I think culture is important. And I think we're losing it a bit because everyone wants to emulate being Western.
Correct.
And I think
always what's the next best look?
Exactly.
What is the look of the year? What is the color of the year?
Exactly. And the whole idea about fashion really is, at the end of the day,
Think out of the box.
Fashion is about clothing. At the end of the day, a t-shirt is a t-shirt.
Yes.
You know, you get in, it's a t-shirt. But what makes it a difference is that when you have a message or if you're inspiring something, then that is what is important. And there were people like discussing, is fashion art? I don't think it is. But with the things changing and everything like visual art, you know, post-Dada, post-Warhol and everything, the notion of visual art is no longer limited to fine arts. Then you have contemporary arts. And the same with fashion. Fashion shouldn't be just limited. I think we're producing way too much clothing without message. And I think fashion should have a message. I think that's the raison d'être, they said in French. It has to have a reason to exist. And I think with this, us celebrating everything Filipino, I think it's wonderful. And we should do more. And we should
How should we do more?
Well, we should do more by basically buying it, and we shouldn't be really asking for lower prices, because we have to remember as well that sometimes we have this sort of tendency that, oh, it's made in the Philippines or it's designed in the Philippines, it should cost less than a foreign brand. No, we should look at an example of the Thai people. The Thai industry, fashion industry, is really doing really well because the Thai people would pay the same amount of money, the value of a Thai made, along with the other international brand, and Filipinos should also follow.
And our local brands, our local designs can compete with the best in the world.
I think we're so exotic. We're so like, we're living archipelago. We are a dreamland.
Yeah.
I mean,
we have the best beaches in the world, right?
We have,
and we
I
can
think.
also have the best fashion in the world.
Well, yeah, and I think if you have culture to go along with the beautiful beaches that we have, then, you know, it's a win for the whole country, really. So I think, you know, it's a good start, as what they said, every little helps. You know, to be always saying, oh, I'm proud to be Pinoy, but to be proud Pinoy, you have to do something in a little way, because every little thing adds up.
And I'm sure, Lesley, everyone's asking you, when will Lesley Mobo set up his fashion house here in Manila? But you decided to set it up in Aklan,
yes,
in your hometown.
I just set up an atelier, a studio in the village, and we're working with some village women, young, and some of them are mothers, some of them are grandmothers, and I'm teaching them, well, they have the skills already, but it's just like trying to refine them to do things in a way that a standard, like a
Are you using any special kind of material from the province?
Well, we've been working with some weavers as well, piña weavers. Aklan is famous for piña, so it's such a kind of handy to have it around. So we've been experimenting with that and as well on the side. But, you know, there's still a lot for it. I mean, it needs investment, and it's so much things that needs to be done with pineapple to make it really, you know, competitive.
And when you start missing your other home in the UK and Europe, will you transport your fashion in Aklan?
I think that's the way forward. It's the opposite, I think. We always wanted to be like, oh, how can we sell our clothes in Paris and everything? as what I'm saying to young new designers, you know,
Yes.
you can be in Tacloban, you could be in Zambales, you can be in a little island in Visayas or in Mindanao or in Luzon. If you're doing something that is authentic, true to yourself, and if you do it right, let the world see it and people will
Come
pick
to
it up.
us.
Yes, with the social media, with the online things, you can sell anything outside the world. You know, you can be based, as I said, in Bohol, and you can be selling in America. And this is exactly what I do. I've been selling clothes outside. You know, we're making clothes in the village in Aklan, but our clients are in America, in Latin America, in Europe. So it's a good example that the world is, you know, becoming one. So it's wonderful to be Filipino, and I think we should always do more, you know.
And we are really very, very proud of you, Lesley. Thank you so much for joining us here.
Thank you so much.
on The
Such a
Final
pleasure.
Word.
Thank you so much.
Filipino designer and based in the UK, now visiting the Philippines, Lesley Mobo.